There's an ancient letter that shows Pilate wrote to Emperor Tiberius about Jesus. Very much like a governor sending a "you won't believe what just happened here" report to his boss. Now, earlier church writers like Tertullian even mention it. And before we get to the letter, we've got to talk about this guy Tertullian, because he was a game changer for the early church. Tertullian is known in church history as the father of Latin theology, because he was the first church leader to write his works in Latin. He had an enormous influence on the early church, and much of that is even seen today. He wrote Against Praxis, which was the first time the word Trinity was used to describe the Godhead, concerning the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. His longest book, Against Marcion, defended the use of the Old Testament by the Christian church and demonstrated how to use scriptures to refute heresies like Gnosticism, which was a major threat to the church of his day. See, Tertullian was a key player in the transition of the church from a persecuted minority to a major influence in Roman society. So it's pretty important that such an influential early 2nd century church writer wrote about the Anaphora Pilati, this letter by Pilate. And we have early manuscripts of this letter, and the oldest surviving versions of Pilate's letter are in Greek from the 6th century. Here the text presents Pilate's perspective of the crucifixion, claiming he was pressured by the Jews into condemning Jesus to prevent a rebellion. It also describes the miracles associated with Jesus' life and death, often emphasizing the supernatural events surrounding his crucifixion, like describing a darkness covering the world, followed by intense sunshine, even at night, and the appearance of angels and the resurrection of various biblical figures after Jesus' death. It also goes into great detail about Jesus' appearance. And here is the image AI created with this description in the letter. It states, "A man of stature, somewhat tall and comely, with a very reverend countenance, such as the beholders may love and fear. His hair is of the color of chestnut, full, ripe, plain to his ears. Whence downward it is more orient and curling, and wavering about his shoulders. In the midst of his head is a seam of partition of his hair, after the manner of the Nazarites. His forehead plain and very delicate, his face without spot or wrinkle, beautified with a lovely red. His nose and mouth so formed that nothing can be reprehended. His beard thickish in color like his hair, not very long, but forked. His look innocent and mature, his eyes gray, clear, and quick." Now, regardless whether Pilate really wrote this letter or not, it's fascinating that some of the earliest prominent Christians believed he did. And more than that, it shows just how unforgettable and divine Jesus is. Even his enemies couldn't ignore him.